but sergeant to sergeant, I don't trust York in the field. Like, that's a harsh thing to say, but I don't. And she's gonna get more people killed the longer that she's in command of active scenes in the field.
Like, has there something recent that happened that you know, made you feel that way?
It's a combination of things. I've been on several scenes over time where she has tried to take over a scene, which she's good at when it's like a normal scene, right? Like if you go to like a laundromat,
Right.
it's about setting the pursuit order and setting, you know, everything and, you know, protocols. She's great, right? She's got a high like EQ, right?
Right, she's smart.
Very good with
Yeah.
people.
Right.
Like she's fucking great. But you know, just like maybe I'm not the best at like, you know, emotional intelligence, and I'm not the best at like, you know, dealing with people when
We
they're
all
upset
have
or
weaknesses
you know, whatever,
and strength.
right?
Okay.
Acting like babies, or see, just there, like I don't know how to do that shit. Okay,
Yeah,
like,
we all have our
that's just
strengths
me,
and
right?
weaknesses. Yeah, understand.
But she's not she's just not capable of leading a combat scene. Like I've been in several situations where she seems overwhelmed. She seems like
Don't have the
anxious
experience
or
for it.
agitated.
Yeah, don't.
But not even experience. Like because I've been in the field with her for a long time, and there was something that bothered me the other day that I haven't really told anyone, and I didn't even tell her that I heard it.
But
yet,
if York is good at being high
because
command,
she was
not
really
leading,
upset
I mean,
after
that's not a
last night,
problem.
so I didn't want to.
Can I come in?
You can come in.
Okay.
Okay, so where were we?
Yeah, I think we just talk to her. We can be like, listen, Ash Chief, and this is. And,
well,
and
I don't know if I feel comfortable because it's like we're subordinates, right?
Correct. So we have to get Cletus and
let me
Cassidy
tell you my
involved.
example first. Let me tell you something that happened. I haven't told anyone this except for Buns. Do you remember? Actually, I don't know if you were around, but there was a shooting with the Saints on Forum. I don't think you were around.
No, I was not.
TLDR. Peach, PPO, Peach.
No,
Chief
Layla, he's talking to me as a fellow sergeant. He's not ranting.
That there was a drug sale call on Forum Drive in the typical spot just north of Carson. You know the one, or sorry, just south. You know what I'm talking about. The main drug hub that Hydra used to push in.
Correct. Yes.
It was smack dab in the middle of that courtyard. I knew exactly where it was. Knew what was going on. Peach said she was going to go respond, but she wanted more units, and I said. I was riding with Bones and Siobhan at the time. And I said, okay, we've got 3. Will 76 your location, Peach, will help you out. Several other people also assisted. I forget exactly who, but it ended up being like Opal was there, York was there, a bunch of people. So what happened is Peach and the other units staged at the impound lot, so to the north of the Forum area in Carson. Bones, Siobhan, and I drove our scout down Davis, looped around the back alleyway, and snuck in the back alleyways in Forum from the full south. Bones and I stopped at the second apartment building before that one, where they're dealing out of. We climbed on the roof and told Siobhan to back up and get out of the area, so we were hidden on the roof. We observed one car parked in the alleyway, another car pulled up, lady with white hair got out, ran around the phone, and then ran inside the courtyard. Bones and I saw this. We calmed it on radio. Bones and I snuck over onto the rooftop right above where they were standing. So we did the little jump over the roof. We're crouched above them. We're listening. We get eyes on maybe 3 to 4 different suspects. There's a couple males. There's the one female we already saw on the phone.
Right.
We're very clear. We see them assaulting locals, standing around with weapons out. They're clearly doing handoffs. So Bones... I'm gonna try to paint you a picture here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I never talked to Dark. I never talked
where
to Dark.
Carson is and Forum. Bones Bones and I were on like the southern edge of the roof, right? He crept around the eastern edge of the roof until he was on the northeastern corner, so he was next to Carson.
Okay.
Follow me?
Right at the cross.
Yeah. So he's now opposite from me. He snuck all the way around, and he's now looking at them. So they're facing north, standing in the courtyard. Bones then stands up with his camera to zoom in on them and take a picture.
Okay.
They immediately must have laid eyes on him doing this.
Oh boy.
Because as soon as he did that, I had crept around to the eastern corner now,
scattered.
so like in parallel with him, but further south down.
They probably heard
the. They immediately run up the staircase on the inner courtyard and start jumping on the roof. So Bones immediately calls roll in. They're getting on the roof. They're running away. Him and I both thought they were running away. But instead of running away, they pulled guns and started a gunfight.
Oh boy. Okay.
So Bones gets engaged on by 2 gunmen at the same time.
Oh my god.
I start assisting him in returning fire on the closest gunman who was near him. As we were fighting that guy, a woman, the lady in the white, ran up behind me with a wrench and tried to hit me in the head. Luckily, I knew how to avoid it because of the community.
Wrench are deadly.
So I combat rolled their way. I shot her down. I then returned focus to Bones, reloaded, shot down the guy that had shot him down. I learned later Bones actually fell off the roof, but that's neither here nor there. So I shot down the guy who had been shooting at Bones and me. Then there was a third suspect who engaged in a long-range gunfight with me across the length of the roof, basically. I put a couple really good shots on him. He went to run and hide. He jumped off the roof, and he got shot down by the other officer. There were a couple people that fled during the chaos that we were not able to apprehend. As we're kind of doing triage, setting up the scene, I've got Decker mobile. He's running around the perimeter in his scout or whatever he was driving. We've got barriers up. We've got people collecting evidence. York and somebody else were collecting evidence inside the area. We had triage, everything. Unfortunately, Decker at one point, or sorry, I'm going to rewind. Maxwell, or I think it was Maxwell, yeah, calls out at one point to get 52s down to 4. I canceled her call and said 22 that, Maxwell, let's hold off on EMS for about, 2 to 3 mics, because this is a scene with the Saints. We have their leader shot down, and it's very likely they come back for them.
Right. They come back for their boys.
So I tell everyone, let's get people on rooftops. Let's secure the area. Let's hold down the area with barriers. I'm still talking to Slacks. Give me a minute, okay?
Dude, how does Declan remember these details so damn well, man? Holy shit. Like, he's... I mean, you could tell us the truth by remembering all these details. You can't make this up. Lawyer brain? Yeah, true. I forgot. I keep forgetting that Nathan is a law student.
I just got a complaint about it from Decker. I'm handling it. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Apparently, the guy that Aspen handed off was in the cells for an hour and a half.
Oof. Damn.
I don't know why Decker didn't mention that. Maybe he didn't know. Anyway, so the scene on forum, we're kind of just like holding out. I'm running around mobile. We get a call about a suspicious car in an alleyway. I can't positively ID the guy. I'm pretty sure it was one of the guys who fled that we didn't catch, but whatever, fine. So Decker gets on radio and he says to me, hey, Declan, besides keeping my head on a swivel, do you want me to do anything else? And I said, no, just keep alert. And I said what I usually say when I'm leading those scenes. Look, everyone, I know this is taking some time. We're just going to give it one more mic. Everyone just, stay alert. And then, when, one more mic is passed, we'll call an EMS and we'll get the scene moving. As then I'm walking on the outside, so the alleyway side of the triage area, I hear York say loudly, I swear to God, if one more person tells me to keep my head on the swivel.
Oh boy. Okay.
So I'm just kind of at a point where then yesterday, and I'll give you the example from yesterday.
Oh my God, we got shoot out.
You were there. We were doing interviews, and we had
do something about it.
311s come in, 911s that said 78's Vespucci.
The freeway.
We are like, you know what?
Interchange
We'll
right
have to like postpone our last interview or even cancel it. We're gonna go down there. I mobilize Bones and Aspen. I get them with me. We drive down there.
Right.
Turns out that I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but apparently a lawyer had been kidnapped and brought down to a house in Vespucci. Somehow McNulty and some other officers had received a shit ton of injured person calls from inside this house. Don't ask me how.
Okay.
So at this point, they had received like literally 18 injured person calls from inside the house. So they decided that it was exigent circumstances and they were going to go in. So
makes sense.
Apparently they go in to like check and like rescue this guy. Something happens where McNulty's sitting in a car while they're in the area and McNulty gets kidnapped by the BBMC. So
Oh, boy.
McNulty is then taken at gunpoint
I've seen this
into
movie.
that property.
Right.
McNulty's in the property. He's held at gunpoint. York and them find out about this. It's basically a standoff with like 8 to 10 officers standing outside the house. York is in this like little airlock entryway, yelling back and forth with Dundee while McNulty's at gunpoint. We still had our interviews, so I said, look, guys, because we had like 10 officers on duty, and I didn't, think it would, go that badly. I said something to the effect of,
Corinne's gonna run down.
We're coming down from Sandy. We showed up late, obviously, because we had to drive all the way down there. I got people on rooftops. I asked what we needed to do. We complied with what Decker told us to do. We fanned out. We secured certain areas. York then says, we need to get set up for breach. And everyone just be ready. There's people on either side of this doorway, so when you go in, be prepared. Blah blah blah. She was negotiating with Dundee. While she was negotiating, I tried to set up a plan with Loki where I was going to call it the Iron Mouse offensive, where we have Loki start talking to Dundee about nonsense about his Oshi, and I thought maybe it would distract Dundee. So then, like, as soon as like Loki said a certain keyword, then everyone would rush in, and maybe we'd catch Dundee off guard.
I love that. That's how you got that to the BBC.
So we did that, right? Or we were going to, and I thought we were going to, but then York, while talking to them, I guess they just shot McNulty while she was talking to them. I don't know why. I couldn't hear the conversation. I can't tell you if like she escalated or they did or what happened. It's Dundee, so he probably just felt like shooting McNulty. And then York, ignoring what Loki and I had talked about or any semblance of like the element of surprise or coordination, after they shot McNulty, just yelled out, we're breaching, and then unlocked the door and ran in. And then the initial like group that was there ran in behind her, and they all went down. So I was standing there like, shooting through the doorway, trying to engage in a gunfight and not wanting to just like rush headlong into the death. And then Dundee eventually locks the door again and closes everything.
And then loot the cop's gear, let me guess.
So I'm assuming, they were looting and, healing up and all that. So then I engaged in negotiations. And this time I try to actually, do the Loki, Iron Mouse plan, except I did it with, my Oshi. And so I told everyone, like whispering on radio, I said, like, okay, here's your entry order. Here's, stack on left, stack on right. Here's the order of everyone. We had like 6 cops or something. So I just called everyone out. And then I said, I'm going to talk to him. And then when I say the words Gargura, you're all going to go in and, shoot everyone down in the angles that I've told you to.
Okay.
Let's just say that there's some problems with pushing into homes like that I never thought of.
Oh, yeah, it's scuff. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
I ran in and immediately shot who I can't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure I shot someone multiple times. In fact, I can't even remember if it was Dundee there or not.
We can't have shootouts in properties, man. It's
times, and I shot somebody in the head 2 to 3 times, and it just felt like I wasn't actually shooting them. And then when I came to, I realized that I had actually been inside a jail cell somehow, and I was shooting the bar, which was unbeknownst to me the entire time I was running in. So
yeah,
a lot of questions about that. But anyway, the point of the whole thing is that York afterwards is incredibly sad and despondent and upset. And I try to tell her, like, it wasn't her fault. Like, the criminals didn't, the criminals are the ones that forced us to run into a meat grinder. It's not, her, whatever. They got people shot. And at the end of the day, like, there's going to be plenty of times where we're going to get shot down. It's going to happen, right? It's the part of the job. But my concern is that there are a lot of people on scene there. And although York is like a higher rank, I don't think that she's the one who should be making the calls in those kinds of moments. And maybe this will come down to like who's tax certified and things like that eventually. And I know that's kind of just getting off the ground right now with like Radich and Frost and all them.
I've seen it, I've seen it. I know what they're talking about.
Like I know there's ways to go about this, but I'm genuinely concerned that she's not. It's not about being capable or competent. I'm genuinely concerned that she's too involved with her care for the officers, and she gets so nervous about people getting shot, and she gets so like tense and worrisome about what could go wrong, that then she acts in a way that makes it go wrong. and I don't know how to like really put that in a very constructive way, because
That dude, he's
don't wanna
talking to
come
a
off
fellow
like I'm just
sergeant, man.
trying to
It's fine, chat.
demean
Stop
her or insult her,
overreacting.
because I'm not. She's like
Sergeant's
very
talking to
competent
sergeant.
in leading. It's just, I think that if she's on like a scene like that, she should delegate to someone who excels in that area, right? And not try to be something she's not.
Exactly. We're talking about people's lives here, right? This is life and death. What happened if an officer died and that push y'all did?
Yeah.
So these kind of things should be best on merit. Who's the best at leading the kind of things? If I believe that you or Bones are better than me in leading something like that, I'm gonna delegate, right? I'm gonna make sure that the people who are best at these kind of things are being placed at the tip of the spear. So I know I'm confident in our results. And at the end of the day, the lower casualty, the better it is, right? The less officers get shot, the better it is.
Well, and that was the thing for me on that scene is when I got on scene, I wasn't even so much thinking like Bones or I should be leading it. I was just thinking, there's so many people here who I've dealt with that can lead this kind of scene, and none of them are able to speak up and do anything because York's leading it and she's leading the negotiations. And then she just makes that call. Not only that, but she shouted out, she yelled at the top of her lungs, "We're breaching," and then unlocked the door and ran in. It's like you're just asking to get shot in the face.
Especially on choke points. If this is open space, there's a lot of cover, sure, right?
Yeah.
But in choke points,
I hate this conversation too, because I genuinely really appreciate York for what she does for the PD, because she's the person who is able to handle people in a way that I never could, right? Like I don't have the emotional intelligence to handle people the way she can. I mean, she's able to deal with cadets and officers, especially in like discipline scenarios, that is far superior to the way I could look at things. But in terms of, that small subset of our work, I just don't think she should be doing it.
And that's when we're gonna come in as command. Like, listen, Ash Chief, we appreciate you helping us with this, but when it comes to things like this, we let one of us lead it. Have trust in us to lead something like that. I can have that conversation with her. I can talk to her. I mean, maybe after the fact, I have to debrief, pull her aside, and then have a conversation about that, because those kind of things need to be communicated, right? She needs to know, right?
Yeah.
It can't be the elephant in the room.
Command, are we supposed to go to her, or do we go to Barrick? I mean,
we're supposed to go to our captain. We go Cletus or Cassidy. We'll talk to her.
Cletus, Cassidy. Okay. Yeah, maybe Cassidy on that one. I don't think. Look, I love Cornwood, but I don't know if that's the best person to deliver the message of.
Well, he's just the next in line. He's on vacation right now for a week, okay. So I think the next person is definitely Cassidy.
Him being like, well, Ruby and cows, and I think she'll just tune it out.
Maybe, but I'm glad you bring up this concern, because these kind of things you've talked about. I know sometimes it's hard to talk about it because these are bosses, right? Yeah. And how do you call out your boss on something that is very important like that? And how do you get the message across to where you're not trying to offend them, but trying to just...
That's the biggest... Yeah, that's my biggest thing is like...
Right.
Because her and I have like clashed in the past, and I'm kind of like... I'm so reluctant to even like bring it up, because I don't want it to seem like I'm saying something out of like anything else. Like I just
maybe really, I should come from that place, because I was high command and I would delegate so often. When we had seniors and officers, I delegate, and that needs to happen more often, right? I was high command. You should have to step in unless you have to, and that's how I see it, right? You got plenty of people within to do the job that they need to do. Let them cook, and if there's something major or flawed about it, step in if you have to.
Yeah, I know Aspen also has and what's interesting is Aspen gets on duty before I do, and she, independently of me talking about it with her, came to me with the same concerns and experiences in like early shift 2 when I'm never on duty. So it's also maybe if you want to talk to her and get her perspective, because
I'll definitely talk to her.
She independently came to me with the same conclusion, which is why I'm even kind of bringing it up to you, because I feel kind of validated in doing so, because someone else has the same opinion. It's not just me. It's like,
right,
she has the same experiences that I do, to the point where she said to me she's uncomfortable going to like violent shootout scenes when Ruby's leading them, because she's afraid of the outcomes.
And that's what we need to avoid, okay? Can you imagine not having that trust? Can you imagine trusting your fellow officer when the shootouts are happening and not having your six? I mean, that's scary.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Right. Do you want me to talk to her, or what would you like done out of this?
I don't.
I mean, I can listen. I can approach it from
I'm
what I've
deferring
seen.
to you because you've been dealing with command longer than I have.
Okay, then let me talk to her because I've seen some things beside what you're talking about that also are concerning to me. And as somebody who's ex high command as a captain in her position, I'm gonna approach it from that side to give her perspective on my, experience as someone who's a deputy, senior deputy, and a sergeant. And hopefully you can get across as, hey, Ash Chief, I think you're great at this, but when it comes to certain aspects, maybe you should try to defer to others, or maybe see what others are doing and learn from them, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I'm gonna see if this Clay Kona guy is gonna come around after his say in-house Valo thing.
It's been like 20 minutes. You better be here.
All right, let's see.